Hello, everyone. It's me again with another video, and I hope this fan sound back here isn't too loud. I wanted to come on because of day. This day of them, that report about Biden, the documents, not guilty. Everything's fine. But then they had to go into this whole shade about how he couldn't remember when his son died, when Bo died. He couldn't remember this, he couldn't remember that. And then placing him as an incompetent president. And you can't tell me that this was not deliberately done as a hit job on him. And he's probably worked harder than any president that any of us have ever known or seen. And it really feels like a deliberate hit job on President Biden to undermine people's confidence in him about if he is mentally fit. I mean, here he returned the documents, and I always felt for entertainment purposes only that they were planted, and Trump would go around because who had the documents? Who had missing documents? Trump. It was a hit job, um, and he's the one that kept saying things like Chinatown. Go check Chinatown. Why? What's in Chinatown? It almost makes me want to go there and then trace it back to Trump and it being a setup. It just all of this feels like a hit job against President Biden. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I will say that when I got up this morning, I read like a digital app, tarot app, to see, and I won't be on here long. I just want to vent and get this out about Merrick Garland. So I did a tarot reading for what would happen today with the Supreme Court and all of that. And I got the Seven of Swords and the Magician and the Five of Swords. And I thought, well, let's just hope that's not going on, even though that's what's always going on. Um, and now I can see that is exactly what went on. So the Supreme Court with Clarence Thomas coming on, first question, instead of recusing himself, he's got to make his dominance known, that they're going to, this is in their hands, not ours, not America. Oh, we can vote. We did that. We did that. And yes, it worked out, but we're still dealing with, and Trump was trying to steal our votes, trying to overturn the government. Still to this day, the hell and the insurrectionists, and they're everywhere. And so I want to say that last year, when before the midterms, when you guys know I came on and I was very harsh about Merrick Garland, and I said, I don't have a good feeling about this guy. There's something bad is going on, and I feel like this is what I saw. He pulled 45 off that golf course. Remember, he had the cleats on, and they're going to arrest him. Well, I feel like what happened was they said, look, you could be arrested for the documents because it's on video. You're moving them around, and there, of course, the Mar-a-Lago thing had happened, and you're about to be arrested. So here's what, and then released him, and the next day, Trump's on this golf course with all his cronies and his son and making plans. This is what Spirit showed me, making plans for entertainment purposes only. And Merrick Garland basically told him, yeah, you're about to be arrested, so cool yourself. And we don't want this to affect the midterms because blah, blah, blah. Because I really feel like for entertainment purposes only, Merrick Garland has alignment with the Federalist Society and all of that. And now this. So, okay. So we thought, and it was around that same time, Merrick Garland, special report. No special report about indicting 45 for the documents before the midterms, which Spirit showed me that was the portal of time it was supposed to happen. That's why it gets me so upset. And special report, special news break. And it was Merrick Garland talking about the Chinese hacker thing that's bad, but not the same thing as, and it was like, in your face, America, in your face, in your face. We're not going to indict him for the missing documents before the midterms. We're not. So, in your face. And then later, the whole thing with President Biden. I appointed a special counsel. It just hurts me. It hurts me because I and a lot of us here on YouTube have fought so hard to bring things to light. Hi, Fatima. Thanks for being here. I'm venting, so feel free to vent with me. It's one of those days where you go, did good stuff happen today, or were we shafted yet again? And I feel like we got shafted again. And of course, it's all how you look at it. It's all how you look at it. But I've felt since then, since last year and before that really, but that Merrick Garland slowed things down on purpose to get, he never intended for 45 to be indicted before the midterms. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't behind Eileen Cannon being put in the documents case for entertainment purposes only, because I always felt like she was put there on purpose by someone that was in the know. And it kind of all makes sense now. This whole thing with Biden, like, maybe I could look it up. It's probably on one of those lovely websites that loves, like the Daily Mail, It's upsetting to me. It's really upsetting. Let's make fun of our president, who's done everything with good intentions and worked really hard. And let's make fun of a guy who stutters because he has a speech impediment. And yeah, he's old. But all. Okay, so here's oh gosh, the headline from the Daily Mail. President Mumblebum, that he has a speech impediment, talks to dead people. Well, so do I. Can't remember who Hamas are. And now even his own DOJ, Merrick Garland, pack him off to the nursing home. Kennedy's head in hands conclusion. Biden won't be voted out of the White House. He'll be wheeled out. It's things like that. I think that's treasonous. We have watched President Biden quick on his feet. Sports, but words, the way he handled that State of the Union address last year, where he got, he tried to get the GOP people to agree to, was it the Social Security deal that he was trying to do? He's a smart guy, and he knows how to work on his feet. He multitasks. He's been through health scares. His wife has, First Lady, and all of this, everything that we've gone through, and yet he's done a great job. And for them to say that, to me, it feels treasonous, and I feel it goes back to Merrick Garland directly. Wishing him no harm, Merrick Garland, but like I said earlier, Spirit showed me he had spine surgery and the symbolicness of him needing a spine. Well, yeah, because he's a slave to the Federalist Society for entertainment purposes only. And I've never, it's like when people say Elon Musk is a good guy, and I'm like, but he's doing bad things. So I don't care if you think that he's a good guy. He's doing bad things. He's doing really, really bad things. And I've never gotten that he's a good guy. And with Merrick Garland, I don't give people false praise in hopes that they'll do good in the future. Like, what are they doing now? So I'm venting. I've lost all my faith in Merrick Garland. I really have. This proved to me today that he's orchestrating a hit job on President Biden. He's some of the people doing it. He's part of it. And you say, well, he appointed Jack Smith. Yeah, but I feel like he's also sabotaging him and making him go through loopholes and rings of fire and speed bumps and mazes and just having Eileen Cannon there alone. And now she allowed 45 and his crew to see witness list, and they're already receiving death threats, these witnesses who are brave enough, like Cassidy Hutchinson, people like that, for America, for their country, to speak out and tell the truth, and now they're getting death threats. And Merrick Garland could have prevented all of this. Again, for entertainment purposes only. It hurts. Like, it hurts here. It hurts all through here. I know everything will be fine, as I always say. You know what happened? And I'm just going to keep going. So yesterday in the morning, everything was fine and felt good, and then, and I believe in weather stuff, because they've already said that it's. I already figured it out psychically, and they've already shown that they can manipulate the weather, although people still don't want to believe it, but it's right in front of you. And they've already admitted to doing it. Dubai does it every day. They cloud seed every day to create rain. They already showed they do it here in America, but people don't want to believe. And for entertainment purposes only, I truly 100% psychically believe that when those weather balloons, well, see, I heard weather balloons and spy balloons went over, and Elon Musk has his satellites all over. That's when we started to have these atmospheric rivers and huge catastrophic weather events tied to Putin, and he's laughing about it. And I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it is a conspiracy theory, but it's also my psychic insight. And it's an act of, in my opinion, it's an act of war. But also, I believe that they do these things. Like yesterday, we had clouds all over, and my mood changed, and I got really sort of depressed. And then that's when my water got turned off, and I remember thinking, yeah, I went from here down to here, and the weather kind of, and that weird, strange thing that happens when they create these clouds and block the sun, and I always get kind of depressed, and even the birds stop singing, and everything sort of goes still and weird, and it's very mercurial and strange. And my water got turned off, and then everything started to go bad, and then all this, and I just feel like, okay, so I looked at the weather map, and I was like, is it cloudy all across America? And I looked, and the cloud cover literally was all over America. And I feel like there was a shift yesterday where they saw us doing well, because wasn't it Tuesday when everything was going well for democracy and the goodness of mankind and justice and all of that. And then yesterday it was almost like they put this blanket on us, and everything changed, and we all got depressed, and then all this today. And I know that's a crazy theory, but that's what my psychic insight. And I'll leave it at that. That is just a theory. That's truly for entertainment purposes only. But um, gosh, time will prove this right. I believe that Merrick Garland was not working for us, or Jack Smith. He was working for the Federalist Society for entertainment purposes only. This is all psychic insight. And it makes me sad. And we really have to up our game. Like my reading today, we really have to stay up, and we have to pray for the best outcome, the highest good of all. Call upon Michael, Archangel Michael, God, the angels, the divine, and pray, pray, pray. Because I really feel like those dark, nefarious entities really are trying to bring us down. And why? Well, why? Why wouldn't they? Because that's the game, right? The game is they want to win. And so we have to be positive and send love out and light, and believe that the best outcome is going to happen, and it will. I've always seen Biden in the White House in 2024 and beyond. And I'm not the only one. So, yeah, let's stay positive. This is, the old phrase, it's always darkest before dawn. Night only lasts so long. The light comes out and illuminates everything. The sun comes out. And that's all I have to say. I'm mad. I'm mad about today. I'm mad about the sneaky way that they undermined President Biden by saying, oh, well, he's had a win by us letting him off the documents case, even though Trump's still going to try to bug him about that. But what they really did was undermined the voters' confidence in him by saying that he's delusional. Well, I've never seen him be delusional. I've seen him stutter. Yes, we do. And I love that, Fatima. I love that. Yes, we do. And I've always said, we have the power. We have the power. And we have the angels, and we have the divine and the light, and it's on our side. So they wouldn't fight so hard if they didn't see that we were so bright and so powerful. So, um, I hope my water comes back on. I'll say that real quick. I'm doing remarkably well for someone who doesn't have any water for the last day. I mean, it's made me down. Yeah, I was manifesting really well. I was waiting, and in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, please don't turn off my water yet. Please don't turn off my water. I'm almost where I'm getting my tax return, and I'm going to pay off some of these bills because I had to feed my kids, and keep the lights on and all that stuff, and pay the house payment, and working, trying to work. And I'm like, please just keep the water on, keep the gas, whatever. It's warm now, right now, so I don't care about the gas. Hey, warrior girl. So I take Karen for a walk, and I come home, and the water's off, and just hits you, and you're like, oh well, I'll do this and I'll do that. And I had my kids go to their dads because they were going to go there this weekend and next week anyway. So I had them go a little early. It's embarrassing, but like I said, I was almost to where I got my tax return. The problem is the tax return is like, oh well, there's just a special thing. You're getting your refund, but it won't be for another couple weeks, whereas I would have it right now. And my timing was like, okay, it's going to come right now. I'm going to be good. Pay off these bills. Finally, I've been waiting months for this, to anyway, but the water turned off. And I really felt like yesterday when all the clouds were everywhere in that sort of pall of darkness and the negativity, I could feel it, the shift. And I do feel Elon Musk does these things. I've always felt like all his satellites everywhere it's almost like he flips a switch. And so sometimes when you manifest things, it almost like reverses it because he's trying to play God. It's a weird thing, so we have to fight really hard. And the fact that he wants to put chips in people's brains, like, no, that is not a good idea. No. And then they say, well, don't you want to help people who are paraplegic? Like, yeah, but I don't want Elon Musk to do it. I don't trust that guy. I do not trust that guy. I've gotten the guy whose spirit showed me when the war with Ukraine started. And he's like, Ukraine can use Starlink. And Spirit said, no, tell them no. Because he's going to find their phones via his internet, Starlink, groups of people, and then they're going to get bombed. And that's exactly what happened. And this is before anyone knew Elon Musk was, who he is, for entertainment purposes only. And I went on Twitter at the time that was still Twitter, and I was like, don't use Starlink, don't use Starlink. And you're crazy. But they found out that that's exactly what he was doing, and he's working with Putin, and it's hard to be an intuitive sometimes, and you feel like you're crying wolf, but whatever. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, he did it to a human. I know it. When they said that, everybody on Threads was like, phew, how long before this person's brain blows up? And here's my thing. I had just been, the day before, I had made my 2024 predictions, and some of those have already come true. And one of the things I really talked about in extensive time was that there would be AI, good AI, to help people who are autistic, help them with driving, help them assistance in life. Does this person make you feel weird? Or here's a cue. Your heart rate's up. Do you need a safe place? Do you need to call somebody? You don't have to, things like that, cues. It wouldn't be intrusive, like invasive in their brain or in their body, like we put chips in dogs and cats. It would be the bracelet that would sense their heart rate or, heat or cold or whatever, blood pressure, things like that. So it would be a non-invasive AI to help sensory neurodivergent. And the next day, they said that Elon Musk successfully had tested one human and put the chip, and what he wants to do, and I saw this for a long time ago, is he wants to control people's thoughts. The Google glasses, oh, you can just say something or do this and you'll get all this information. He wants it to come right into your brain, but he also wants to corral your thoughts. The first tarot reading I did with him was what it showed. He wanted to control people. And that didn't sit well with me. It never has sat well with me. And, you know, when people say, oh, well, he'll help paraplegics, I'm like, well, that's nice, but maybe not him. Maybe not this crooked guy who his own daughter doesn't want to be with him because whatever, whatever. I know. Yeah, you're right, Warrior Girl, about the. I know I always say AI. Let me see. It's QI, quantum intelligence, and it's been here all along. Well, that's the thing, according to archangels, and goes hand in hand with the cosmic universal intelligence. Thank you. And I agree with you. I agree. And I want to say that what Spirit showed me was that we're not like with the HG, everybody's afraid of H or 5G. Spirit said, we're stronger than that. And you can harness that power yourself. So whatever you think they're doing with 5G, I do believe that there's bad things from 5G. There's good and bad. We can use it though. Like we can manifest using 5G. But this whole thing with Elon Musk was he wants to like override that. He wants to override that. Yeah, I agree. We have to drop our fear around it and induce it with love. It's the humans I'm afraid of, so not no good. Thank you. I mean, I agree. My thing is, I just don't want Elon Musk to do it. I don't trust the guy. I don't think he's ethical. And, he may have good ideas, but his application and the origin of his, um, what would you say, his intention, I don't feel good about. But a lot of the AI, I feel like, yeah, it's unavoidable, and it is, and we're already in the world where AI is already assisting us, and it's, can be good or bad. It's like you said, it's all how we work with it. It's just him I don't trust. So, and here's my point, and I want to make this point, and I do agree, it's our future. I totally agree, and we have to keep moving forward and make it work for us, and keep aligning it so that it does work for us. But I was having a talk with my daughter because I feel she's autistic. I feel like I'm on the spectrum. I mask a lot, and I have my whole life. I get overwhelmed. I do a lot of the avoidance, and I go into hyperfixation and my anxiety and everything else. I really feel like I'm on the spectrum. But we were talking about it, and I said, how do you feel about someone like Elon Musk putting a chip in the brain of someone who's autistic and fixing them so they're not nonverbal anymore? And she said that she didn't like it because, and I agreed with this, because so often we say we're going to fix autistic people. Yeah. That we're going to fix people who have autism. And again, I feel like I'm on the spectrum. And I came to the conclusion with my daughter that I accepted her exactly how she was, and I didn't want her to be fixed. And Coco's behind me. It's not about fixing someone. Yes, do we want to help people who are nonverbal? We already have a lot of that. We have voice to text, text to speak, technology. There's a lot of therapy. There's a lot. And so I just feel like it doesn't need to be so invasive. And again, not him, not Elon Musk, but we can help, right? We want to help, but we don't want to fix someone. And you go into the old book, where's that old book, Charlie or whatever it was, where the guy was given a magic potion, and then all of a sudden he was a genius, and he had women, and he could have adult relationships, and all this stuff. And then at the end of the movie, no more potion, and it reverts back to being like a child. He recesses back to this limited knowledge, limited maturity. And what was the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that we're just supposed to love him as he is. Everyone's a reflection of us. It's really hard for me to talk about this because I do get very upset and flustered about it. Let me see. I'll stop talking for a moment. I never trusted him, Elon, at all. My firstborn son likes him a bit too much. Well, and that's weird, isn't it? How people, and look at Tesla. I think Tesla is the perfect example. He didn't invent it, but he flaunts it like he did. He tried to get the payout here recently, like, he invented it. And when they don't work, and then the people in his company have issues like sexual assault and things like that, he just tries to quiet them and brush it under the rug instead of fixing and making it better. He's unethical the way that he deals with things. Um, and so I don't trust that. And the whole thing with Twitter and everything, I don't trust that guy. I don't trust him. I don't trust him to put a chip in people's brains. So, yeah. But there are a lot of people, you know why people love him? Because it's like that Star Trek thing where do you remember Q from Star Trek, the Next Generation? My ex used to watch Star Trek all the time, so I'm well versed in the show. And um, it's a great show, you know. I don't disagree. It's a great show. But remember Q? He was kind of like Elon Musk, where he was like a good guy, bad guy. I mean, you could like him, but you also didn't like him. You didn't trust that guy, but he's a great character and fascinating character. You know, like I'm fascinated. Both came in at the same time, 5G and 5D. Let's talk about that. We'll get off Elon Musk. And again, for entertainment purposes only, my intuitive insights, I've got a cut. I better put something on it. Owie. It feels weird. So 5G, 5D. Okay, so you remember when in March 2020, there was a certain number of psychics who were saying the pandemic, the pandemic is around so they can install 5G everywhere. And I was like, that's crazy. You know, why would they have a, by the way, I'd already had the virus in January 2020. It was horrible. And I remember looking back later and going, I had the virus in January 2020 before it hit, or they said it hit. I think it just finally made its rounds and became, a pandemic at that point. Anyway, people were saying they're using the fake virus to install 5G everywhere. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. They wouldn't do that. And I know they didn't do that. However, mid-March 2020, when everything shut down and we went into the shutdown, I would take my dog for a walk every day. I could still do that. I couldn't go to the store or the mall or the movies, but I could still take my dog for a walk. That was my peace of mind. So I remember that week, it got cloudy and it started to rain a lot. And there weren't a lot of people out. It was just me and my dog. And all these trucks kept driving by with the ladders and stuff, like these electrical and like internet guys. And sure enough, that I don't think, I know 100% the virus I had it. I've had it several times. And the shutdown was a necessary thing. And I actually had a lot of beautiful experiences in the shutdown. But they used it as that time when everybody was locked in their house. I feel that's when they like, okay, here's our chance to put the 5G crap everywhere. I really feel that. I don't feel like it was all planned. I feel like they used that opportunity for entertainment purposes only to put the 5G things up there. And look, our phones already had the capability at that time. They were just dying to get it done without people bugging them, is what I feel. So they're like, oh, everybody's locked inside. We'll get it done now. I'm sub to Regina Meredith on here. She's a host on Gaia TV. She just dropped a video about Elon the other day. I didn't realize he was born and raised in South Africa. I did. I'd heard that. Hi, Ellen. Nice to see you. Yes, the virus was spreading. Remember, the spreaders, I'm going to have so many of those, those conspiracy theory warnings. They're going to be all over my video. Yes, it was spreading around since October 2019. I believe it. And remember there was that one theory that Trump had like the vaccine at that time. They took him to Walter Reed in November 2019. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I do know this. And I've heard Sterling the psychic say this too. I remember right when we had the shutdown, it was mid-March 2020, and Trump had just met Bolsonaro or whoever from where is it, Colombia or whatever, Brazil, and he came back to the White House meeting thing, and he was on TV, and he looked bad. And I got from my spirit guides, he's got the virus. And they showed me that weekend that he was getting shots and like vitamin and infusions, And then he comes back in a few days and he looks a lot better. That's what I saw happen. I don't know if he ever got a vaccine. He got the virus and then he was healed fast. It's weird. For entertainment purposes only. Um, and he didn't tell us. And then here's the thing: he didn't tell us. And then he went on TV for the next months, and denied people PPE equipment and nurses masks and all, and wouldn't let us, had bidding wars and stopped shipments and told us not to wear masks. And Herman Cain had his chair tied to infected people at rallies and people getting sick and dying, and the whole time 45 is like had it and is telling people that's nothing, and he knew it was something. That's where I think he should go to jail. Honestly, I think 45 should go to jail for. Do you remember one of his conferences that he had every day where he said, I was looking outside of the White House, or he was in New York, of my hotel room, and I saw body bags being brought out, hundreds and hundreds of body bags. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Those are people's loved ones, and you're not letting nurses have PPE equipment, masks. That's where I think he should go to jail, honestly, is how he mishandled the virus that he knew about and had. So, anyway, he committed homicide. I agree. I agree, Warrior Girl. I totally agree. And Ellen, I wanted to say hi to you again. Hi, Ellen. Um, Warrior Girl, he's responsible for 1 million deaths. I know. It just makes you sick. It makes you sick. Here we're like crying for each other, wondering if we would get through. We still have it. It's still making it the rounds. And oh, the things he did. And people like MTG and Boebert benefiting off of funds. And another conspiracy theory. This is going to be so bad. I'm going to be shadow banned for the rest of my life. You remember when Pelosi was like, you've got to give out the funds because people couldn't go to work, and like, we're going to give the relief money to people. And he's like, but first I must have my signature. And direct deposit. People were saying that there were direct deposits into their dead family members' bank account. And or it would like go back, it would bounce back. And I felt like a lot of it bounced back to 45. And he literally, when he had it delayed to sign his name on the checks and everything, he was like signing his own, endorsing his own money that he was hoping to get back. For entertainment purposes only. Yes, he didn't go on TV until after the governors from Cali and New York were. And Cuomo, as bad as, looking back now, Cuomo, wasn't very ethical in some things. He actually did a really good job. He was in the right place at the right time to battle against 45 and help New York. Like Ellen, you right here, you say, I live in New York, NYC, and it was a very hard time. Yes. You guys were hit hard and first. And I used to watch Action Kid. He was a YouTuber, one of those live walkers. And I started watching him when the pandemic hit because I was so itchy to get out of my house and I couldn't. So I was like, let me look up somebody walking through New York and Central Park because I'm going to go crazy. And every day, sometimes twice a day, he would get his camera and he would take a walking tour of New York live. And he showed New York during the pandemic. He showed people wearing masks. He showed everything that was shut down, and how New York still to this day has to have outdoor cafes, or they've just kept them for whatever reason. But New York was hit really, really hard. Cuomo did a good job during the pandemic. I agree. I totally agree. I know that hasn't always been the greatest person. And now he seems like he's a little bit more Republican. Maybe he always has. But he did a good job and he was in the right place at the right time. I agree. I live near Syracuse and it was horrible. It was. I'm lucky. I live outside of Kansas City. And I had a park nearby so I could get my dog. And I could get in my car, go to the park, or go to my local little park. And that saved me. Like mentally, it saved me. And I wasn't in a huge manifestation or what would you call it? The virus everywhere. Um, I had groceries delivered, and and I didn't even wear a mask taking my walk every day. I just avoided people. I like stayed away from people. I still wear my mask, by the way, especially at work. Um, Warrior Girl. I think it's deplorable how they both, along with Alec Baldwin, all had serious issues. Yes, I agree. I agree. I feel like it was retribution, kind of like what they're doing to Biden today. It's retribution, and it's horrible how they do it. I totally agree with you. And it seems so obvious, too, that that's what they're doing. Ellen, the outdoor sheds have to be removed by March 1st. Oh. Do you think that people like them, Ellen? Because they're kind of pretty. They took away the space of the sidewalks, but I think people kind of enjoy them, um, unless it's like freezing cold out. But New York always has scaffolding everywhere, so it's not like the sidewalks are completely unfettered. Um, but it's good that things are going back to normal. It's good. I'm happy to hear that. I want to go to New York someday. Maybe I'll see you guys, and we can go through Central Park together. Warrior Girl, I still wear a mask. Yes. Why? Because people cough on us. It's what's weird. The people who don't wear a mask are the ones that cough on everyone. Um, that's what I've noticed in my life. They always, I go out, the one time I go out without a mask, people cough all over me. So I just wear my mask and I'm just like, I'm fine wearing my mask. I'm fine with it. I've been to Kansas City. Nice. Kansas City is an interesting town. It's improved. We have the Chiefs and Taylor Swift and all that, but we have a, a large art district. We have the Crossroads Art District, which I had some paintings last year in one of the galleries. That was fun. Yes, that would be cool. We'll have to hang out. That would be awesome. We need to do that. Fatima Vera. I live not even 2 hours from the border. Um, so yeah, I wanted to come on and say that. Disappointing. I hate to be that person who always has to come in and say that good things aren't happening, but I think it's always good to call them out when they're doing it and let them know that we know. It's like we know what you're doing. Um, I've always been like that. Maybe I'm a tattletale. I feel like that's my role here a lot. Is just to be a tattletale for the nefarious people that think they're getting by with everything. And I've been shadow banned though. I've paid a price for it. Let me do this. Let's pull a card for us with these beautiful. They're the it's Doreen Virtue doesn't do this anymore, but the cards that she left behind are still beautiful, and I still use them. So let me pull a card for all of us. And yes, we are all in this together. I agree. We have each other. And they don't know who they're messing with. They really don't. I told you about the maybe I shouldn't say this, but when Putin was really, this is before Ukraine and everything, and I could see that he was using Trump and causing a lot of havoc. And I mind melded with Putin. I was really pissed. And I mind melded with him and I was like, you mother effer, you stop messing with us via 45 and let us have our country back and yada yada. And that very night, he was at some hockey rink in Russia or whatever, and he fell. And I was like, ooh, I think I did that. I mean, seriously, because I've knocked things off walls. I've had people fall in front of me, so I have to watch my energy. I know that sounds crazy, but I've literally seen it and many times. And so I have to watch my energy. That's awful. I remember, when I think about that, I'm like, whew, you need to watch out. But the bad things we could do, we can also do good things. Lots of good things, and use the energy to do good things. So for us, the card is, I'll pull more than one, emerging. That is us emerging out of these dark times and realizing that we have, and I get the word gentle, we have to be gentle with our power, be gentle with our gifts. And we're emerging together as a group of light workers. And there's the flowers, the spring. So there's a lot of truths that are going to come out in the springtime. And I do feel March, particularly April, is going to be a big month. I feel for some reason we're supposed to get, I know we've had these delays with Chutkin, but we're supposed to get past the Ides of March, is what I heard yesterday. I remember I paused. I was like, yeah, we have to get past the Ides of March because it's not going to serve us well. However, we have Mercury retrograde in April, so we have to be, although I feel like we're in Mercury retrograde right now. I don't know if you guys have felt that. I think there's a Pluto thing going on, but anyway, dreams. Dreams. Do you know that when you dream, you are in the 5D a lot, and you're also healing yourself and healing the world and healing spiritual contracts and things, healing dreams, manifesting. Try to remember your dreams when you wake up. I have trouble with that. Playfulness. Remember to be playful because that's a really good way to manifest too, and it raises the energy in the world. So that's beautiful. Those are good messages, and you see in each of them the power was with us. It wasn't someone else. We're not waiting for some savior to come save us, which, there are angels and God and Jesus and all that, whoever you believe in, that are waiting to help us. But at the end of the day, we do save ourselves. And what was it I read this morning? It said we spend a lot of time waiting for someone to save us when the truth is that person is us. And we are here. We have our life. We have this purpose. We have the power. And yeah, we have the power. All these cards said we have the power. It's good. Okay, Fatima, you live in Toronto. That's beautiful. I would love to see Toronto. The eclipse is going to be powerful. Have you guys seen that there's all those eclipse glasses at the store? So the stores are capitalizing on that. The last eclipse we had, which there were clouds, so I didn't even get to see it, but you could feel it. And I remember my daughter was in like junior high, so probably 8th grade, and her class did something, and I was at home, and I went in the backyard. My dog would not go with me. He would not go out there. He did not like that eclipse energy. And I went out there and I had Pink Floyd blasting The Dark Side of the Moon, blasting in my ears. And I was just like, it got dark and weird and the wind picked up, it was weird, but The Dark Side of the Moon, that was a trippy moment. I loved it. Maybe I'll do that again. So I think I'm about done. Oh, and do you remember the 45 looking at the sun? Don't look at the sun, and that's what he did. So you want to do an IQ test? It just pisses me off so much. What they said about Biden today, it really pissed me off. You're messing with the wrong guy. I feel protective of Biden because he is a sweet guy. He's nobody's fool, but he has really good, loving intention. Do you remember the video? I've posted it before, where the kid he has Down syndrome. I love kids. Down syndrome people, kids, adults are the most angelic, beautiful, sweet, smart. I mean, I just love them. I love them. And Biden had been at this thing for parents where I guess for veterans or somebody who had died in war, I believe, like his son. I believe that's what it was. And this kid, his brother had died. And so Biden's going to leave. He talked to the parents. He's going to leave. And the kid ran up. Do you remember? I should find it. And President Biden turns around and puts his arms around the boy and comforts him and kisses him on the head. And I just thought, that's the guy I want for president. That's the person that for right now. We need this. After the hell of 45, we need someone like Biden, just an angelic heart. And every time I pulled cards on him before the election, I got the King of Pentacles, by the way, and he was always looking up, and I felt like he was looking up for Beau and his family, his wife and children who had died. And everything he does with a little bit of heaven pulled down. He doesn't do anything for his ego or fame or power or anything. He always consults with his loved ones in heaven and God. Um, he's an honorable man. And I really hate bullies who are doing a hit job on him. That's really what this is. It's bullies, it's mean girls. They're so happy tonight. We got you now. No, you didn't. Because smart people are also emotionally intelligent, and we can feel what's right and wrong, and we can feel when people are good or bad. And yeah, Coco's, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's trying to scratch my neck. What you want? So anyway, yeah, they're having their day today where they thought they got one over on democracy. They thought that they made Biden look bad, but they didn't. And I'm here to call out the bullies, and I'm here to call out Merrick Garland. I'm sorry if anyone still believes that he's a good guy. I don't believe it. I don't think he's a horrible person. I don't think he has like horrible intentions. I think that he is indebted to the Federalist Society. And so a lot of what he doesn't do alone. And I've always said this. I've always said, like, when they asked when the Jan 6 hearings are going on, and all of a sudden the DOJ said, we want all the documents that you've got, all the evidence you've gathered up. And a spirit said, no, of course, who am I? But spirit's like, no, they shouldn't do it. They shouldn't do it because there's rats in the circle. There's rats in the group. There's a broken link in the chain. And they didn't do it because I feel like Chuck Schumer and who's the guy? Um, 45 calls him pencil neck, but he's not. He's a very intelligent, hardworking. Anyway, Pelosi and others. They're like, nah, we're not going to send over those documents. We worked really hard for those. Liz Cheney and all. We worked really hard. We're not going to send them over. Because I think they knew too. They knew there was a spy in the camp. And I remember telling people that. And I don't know, whatever. I'm not always right. But I've always felt that Merrick Garland is just not for democracy. He's for the Federalist Society. And again, the spine surgery thing is symbolic of that he doesn't have his own backbone. He's not making decisions on his own. So is he a bad guy? No. But is he doing good things? No. And I do, for entertainment purposes only, feel like he appointed Eileen Cannon. He's the guy. He was one of the guys that was behind that. And that was to delay and stop everything. So you're like, oh, he appointed Jack Smith. Yeah, but he also appointed Eileen Cannon. And now we have witnesses being threatened, so that's not good. Got to stay positive. Well, that's about it. This came on, and I'm going to eat dinner here now, and I'll let you guys talk some more. How about this? You guys chat some more, and then I will. What am I going to do? I hate to pull cards because I'm much better with my intuition than I am with cards, and if I get like the cards that don't agree with me, then I freak out a little bit. So, what can I talk about? No, I won't talk about it. Yeah, my water. My water's out, and I bought water. And let me tell you, washing your hair with bottled water, well, it's doable. It's not great. My hair kind of feels like it has like that film on it, Whatever. You got to do what you got to do. I'm just waiting for my tax refund to come in. That's the thing about the last year. I feel like someone put a hex on me because the last 5 or 6 months of my life have been Like everything I've done has gone wrong, but for financially and things like that. And I'm just at the point now where I'm just like writing it out, just writing it out. Just, Jesus, let me get to the point where I have some money. Not a lot. It's all going to go to bills. That's the thing. That's the sad thing. But at least I'll have it, and I can break even again. It's just been awful. Amy, before I go, what is 45 stance on stem cell research? Um, okay, let me see. What is 45 stance on stem cell research? Okay, so first I'm going to do intuition. You have to understand 45's psyche. He doesn't do anything without a financial benefit. So if he was to make some sort of cut and be able to put his name on it, then he's great. Like stem cell research, that's great. I love it. Let's put my name on it. And how much do I make? But he's not. You have to understand, he is a sociopathic narcissist, mostly just a narcissist. He's a sociopath. And he doesn't care. He doesn't have that compassion for people who die and feel. He doesn't feel that. He feels sadness or grief when he loses money or when he fails at something. So, stem cell research, if he was to get a financial benefit and have his name on it, that's when he'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I like it. I like it. It's great. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And it's sad, but it's true. Has he ever tried to make a corporation to have stem cell? He's not going to. Like, let's say Elon Musk. Let's say at 45, he's not going to be reelected. He's not going to be elected. But let's say he made it into office, and he and Elon Musk had a deal to make a crap ton of money off of these brain AI chip things. He'd be all for it. He doesn't care if the long term the people live, die, or their heads explode, or what have you. He just, it's all about the money. So he'd do it if he can make money. That's my whole point. He would do it if he can make money. Um, I need to concentrate. Spirit, show me. Spirit, show me. Yeah, there's like message movement. Message movement. The Page of Wands. You see that, to me, that always looks like a shocker, like a lobotomy thing. And the fruits on the tree are, to me, have like the fruits of the effort. Um, will it help me win an election? That's what I just heard. If you put chips in people's brains, will they vote for me? That's what I heard. There's a stress. This looks like, not really, but kind of like me being stressed out. Like, please don't let this happen. The Sun, Ace of Wands, and the Seven of Cups in reverse. So we have a great idea, stem cell research, a great idea, but then you have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So that's like and it's not in the right stage yet, the right planning. And there's the Seven of Cups in reverse would be lies and a failure of the concept. So I just want to say not with 45. I want you to look at it this way. Do you remember, of course, we've all seen Idiocracy, so it's like that. Would you let that guy? No. But also Back to the Future 3, where Biff is like 45, or was, and everything he did was for money and his name on it and on a screen somewhere, and like Las Vegas, everything's Las Vegas. So no, he doesn't care. Okay, would he imagine he would dismiss it as junk science? No, I don't think that he would dismiss it. I think that he would say, because he doesn't feel that it could be a great thing. He feels like He doesn't care. That's just what I keep getting. He doesn't care. He just wants to know if he could make money off it. That's really all I'm getting about that. So I'm sorry I rambled about that so much. Um, Over here, a criminologist at Cambridge University named Professor David Wilson diagnosed 45 a psychopath and said he's the biggest narcissist who ever lived. Yeah, that's, I mean, I've always said, you know what, who it is, what it's like. And that's, you're right. He's right. One time when I was still living at home, my mom let a vacuum salesman in the house. And she let him show, all the brushes and everything and how it worked. And he talked for about half an hour. And then when he was done, she said, "Well, thank you, but I'm not interested." And he got irate. And he stayed in the house for another hour arguing with her. And my mother kept saying, "No, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. No." And we could not get him out of the house. And I've always equated 45 to that, the vacuum salesman who wouldn't leave. And indeed, we still can't get him out of our justice system, out of, the election and everything else. We just can't get him to hear no and leave. But he's right. David Wilson is right. He's a psychopath and he's a narcissist. I would say that Jim Jones was a level worse, um, but he didn't have the huge influence like 45 has. So that's what's worse. Yeah, he's right. David's right. But let me go back to what did Warrior Girl say? Ask Spirit if the election will go off without a hitch this year. Okay, let me see. Well, instantly, no. It won't go off without a hitch. There's going to be problems. Okay, this is what I remember. I made a video about this and I didn't post it. And I've thought over the weeks, I need to state this on video. Do you remember how in 2020, as we inched toward November in the election, we had the Blackwater ops grabbing the protesters off the street, and people were protesting because of George Floyd and also the pandemic and women's rights and all these things. And 45 was sort of, and Bannon and Barr were instigating this and making it worse and making it, because that was their plan, was to cause chaos in the streets. And I don't know why that would work, but that was their plan. So I guess to make Democrats look like they were insane. I guess that's what, just chaos. And it got worse and it got worse toward the election, and it got worse and it got worse and it got worse until we have the election. Biden's called the winner, and then we had the insurrection, the grand culmination of all of that chaos. And then it settled down. We had the inauguration, and there was peace. There was finally peace. What Spirit has shown me about the year 2024 is that it's almost like 2020 in reverse. We're having all this chaos. And like the first day, January 1st, there was tsunamis, and there's been all this chaos and all this stuff going on. And then we're gradually going to get through all this chaos, and then it's going to get better and better and better until we get to the election. And I think what that means too is 45 is not really going to be in the race mid-summer. I think July is going to be a huge month for that. So yeah, it's like seasons of a year, and you start off with winter and then you gradually get to spring, whereas usually it's spring, blah, 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 whatever. 2024 is 2020 in reverse, but we're still going to have Biden. Biden's going to win. Like it or not, he's going to win. Let's see. I missed some things here. I'm sorry. The vacuum salesman that wouldn't. Do you want to know, Jamie, that I was working at the library, and a friend of a friend was living with me and my ex. Okay, so it was my ex. And I just got married. And so I'm at work, and she calls me, and she drank a lot. That really always pissed me off, because I'd come home from work and she was always drunk and had her friends over, but I gritted my teeth because she was family and friends. And I got a call at work one day, and she said, "Oh, Amy, I signed you up for a vacuum salesman to come to your house. He'll be here at 3 when you get home." I'm like, "What?" Oh my God. And all I could think was that experience that I had with my mother when and I was like, no, that is not going to happen. Um, and I actually did have one time, I used to answer the door for salespeople. And sometimes I would get my guitar. This is so crazy. I would get my guitar and sit on the front porch and play music for salespeople until I just got tired of it. And I just stopped. I think the Jehovah's Witness people made me stop answering the door. But one time I answered the door and it was a vacuum salesman, and I said, "No, I'm sorry. You're not going to come in here. Thank you, though." And she said, "Oh, well, I have to use the telephone. Can I call my colleagues?" "Yes, you can come in and use the phone." So she came in and she used the phone, and I heard her say, "Come on in." And then they like come over and they all come in the house, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I've got vacuum salesman people all over my house. It's a nightmare. What am I going to do?" So yeah, that's my story. Never again. Not like anything we've ever encountered. Yeah, 45. I think the worst thing about 45 is that he brings so much chaos. So even if he had good intentions, it's the chaos. He's the Mentos and the Diet Coke. And I wish people would. I think people are starting to understand that he's the Mentos and the Diet Coke. So even if you like him or he had good intentions, it just doesn't mix. It's never going to mix. 45 in America is never going to mix, ever. It's never going to work. It's a bad idea. It's also like a Ouija board. Okay, this is another analogy I had. I've never used a Ouija board. They're a portal to really dark energy who will latch on. And I've had latch ons before. I went in, yeah, attachments and things like that. Ouija boards are portals for this dark negative energy to come in and cause chaos and depression and addictions and all these things. And I feel like when 45 came along and he was however he got into office, it was like someone playing with the Ouija board, and then now we can't get rid of him. They opened the portal and this negative spirit came in and we still can't get rid of him. Okay, first with Warrior Girl. Think about this. Every first 2024 is a leap year, just like 2020 was. Oh, I posted a poll on my community tab. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Oh, I'll have to go look. I didn't know. I'm sorry to admit this, but I didn't know that you had a page. I'll have to go look. And Jamie, that's hysterical. Just imagine if the vacuum salesman turned out to be the same. It wasn't. It was women. It was a group of women. And you know who's almost as bad are the newspaper magazine salespeople. I don't talk to them either anymore because here's their little spiel. You won't get the magazines, but the money will go to a good cause. I'm like, oh, why don't I just give you some money? Because if I'm not going to get the magazines, then clearly I'm not benefiting from this, and this is like a charity thing. At least with the candy salesman, they come in, they have a box of candy. You get candy, so you get something. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know. What's interesting is a lot of us will go on other people's pages like Linda G, who we all love, and other people, and we see each other's names and we don't know that we each have pages and things like that, or channels. So, and a lot of us, because our gifts have developed, that's the reason why we're there, right? We're developing our gifts, so we're all part of the community. We're all growing. In fact, I think Allie is probably doing a show here soon. So, oh, that's right. I didn't think of that. Well, I hope I didn't interrupt. I hate to do a live when I know a friend is doing a live. So I'm sorry, Allie. I didn't think about that. Wow. My parents, by the way, Allie had COVID, and I think she's better now. Thank God. My parents always said that leap year are brutal for everyone, personally and collectively. After 2020, I would have to agree. My parents, yeah, my mom never said that. But you know what? I always feel like odd number years are the worst. And the even years are my favorite years. So I don't know if there's anything to that. Also, triple digit days, like when it was March 3rd, 2021, which would be 333, because you don't count the 220, whatever. That was a very powerful day for me, and I've always remembered that now, that triple digit or like 11 11s or 12 12s or 4 4, you gotta check out those days and burn some sage and manifest, do all that good stuff. She's on in 30 minutes. Okay, good. Good. All right. And Jamie, someone bought my mom a donkey for Christmas once, except the donkey didn't move in with us. It was sent to Europe to Ada Poor Village. I'll never forget the bitter disappointment on my mom's eyes. Oh, and she probably would have been nice to it too. And you know what they do with the donkeys when they, no, wait, it's when they buy, it's when people buy a lamb or something. They're like, yeah, you know what's going to happen to the lamb. It's going to get, the sheep or whatever, it's going to get eaten. But they got to eat too, I guess. So you can't think of it that way. Yeah, that's cute. Oh, okay. Almost the Beatles switch real quick. Speaking of that, I last night I watched the photographer who was in the ashram where the Beatles were with the Maharishi in India, and Mia Farrow, Jane Asher, Cynthia was there, Donovan was there, I think, and some others. And this guy was a photographer, and he happened to be there, and he took these beautiful pictures of the Beatles, which now are, you can go look them up. They're really beautiful pictures. And he said that the story of the guy who they wrote the song Buffalo Bill for the White Album. So he lives in Hawaii, and this photographer went and visited him because Patty Boyd asked what happened to Buffalo Bill, because it was supposed to be about a real guy. So he went all the way to Hawaii and asked him about that. And he said, okay, here's the story. So we're in India, and my mother and a crew, we were hunting, and we shot a tiger. And we came back to the Maharishi and the Beatles, and we showed the pictures or whatever and said, yeah, we shot a tiger. Isn't that cool? And John was horrified. John Lennon was horrified. And he said, life begets life, or something, like it was wrong. It was wrong. Life begets life. You just destroyed life. And then the Maharishi agreed, and he mirrored what John said. And the guy was so horrified that he went back and he like disowned his gun, and he's never hunted again. He became like a pacifist, peaceful peacenik and all that. And then he found out that they wrote the song where this guy shot, hey, Bungalow Bill, what did you kill? What did you kill? It's a really beautiful story. I felt like crying for the guy because I personally would have been destroyed. Uh, First of all, I wouldn't shoot a tiger, but it would have destroyed me to know that these people thought I was a horrible person, and my whole life. And I think he has like his whole life reflected on that. Was the photographer Terry O'Neill? It might be. It might be. I'd have to look it up. I'll try to send the title. My dog is walking around here. I'll have to look up the title. It's like, it was on Amazon Prime. So can I find it? I'd have to go look at my list. So I'll let you know. He's a really great guy. Um, and I think he was the one who sat with George, and they had some really deep conversations with George. And you know what's sad? The ashram and all the little huts that they lived in are all decrepit. And I wish somebody would go back and spruce them up. And of course, then it would become a financial business to have people stay where the Beatles stayed, and that's kind of against the whole meaning. One of my favorite stories of that was when they went there, and John was serious. He was serious about finding the answer, the meaning, whatever it was. Why are we here? What is life? And so he was like, making good with the Maharishi like a little child. And at one point, he went up into a helicopter, with the Maharishi, and he thought, here's my chance. I'm going to find out the answer. And he sort of slips it to him in the helicopter. And the Maharishi's like, well, I don't have the answer. The answer's in you. The answer's in you. And John was disappointed. And then they were flying over, I don't know if it was the Ganges River, but all the people from the village and whatnot looked up and were waving at the plane, pointing at the plane. And the Maharishi said, they want us to crash. And John said, why? And they said, because they want a piece of you. Which I thought was a very interesting statement, because it's true. And it equated, I think what it showed John was that, because John was like a star, they were like a star. He was a star. Stars are like stars, you know, you look up at them, you want to touch them. And that they just wanted a piece of him. They didn't even know him. They just wanted, I don't know. I just felt that was a very prophetic thing for the Maharishi to say. And I want to say about the Maharishi that he was human, and he taught John and the Beatles more than they could ever thank him for. And I know he had that moment where they were like, oh, he tried to go after one of the girls and he's a sham. And John was really mad. Why? Because John had made him like a Jesus figure, a God, and found out he was human. Well, yeah, he was human. He had flaws too. He had to learn things too. So, and in that moment where that photographer, or the guy who had shot the tiger, is humbled, John and the Maharishi are in alignment with what's right and wrong and what life means, that, you know, that you don't take life. If they had not gone with the Maharishi, this is what I got last night, they could have gone into a Charles Manson-like cult. So even though people kind of like, why did they do all that? Because it saved their lives. And it put them on a higher path, which is what they were seeking anyway. And it made their fans go on a higher path too, as a consciousness of humanity, and we're still feeling that. So the Maharishi had a really great purpose, and went on to help a lot of people. And for that one moment where he was human, I mean, he's forgiven. He's forgiven. I love the Maharishi. And really what I got was John wrote Sexy Sadie about Brian Epstein, who had died of his own insecurities and failures. So there's my Beatles rant. I just wanted to get that out. Yeah. Well, anything else? I'm going to go eat, and I'll look up that show. So you guys, thanks for being here. I came on to vent about Merrick Garland, and I did. Doesn't change anything, but, you know. So, well, I wish you guys a great night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to me ramble and vent. And again, we're strong together. We have the power. Good things are coming. Good things are happening. And stay on the good track, because they keep trying to, I felt like yesterday shifted us into the lower track. And we all got really sort of depressed and negative, and then all this crappy stuff happened today. Like the Supreme Court kind of sounding like they're just going to let this insurrectionist psycho on the ballot. Gee, why do we even have a constitution? Honestly, I don't understand. We're not using it. People have died for the Constitution. I love you too, Warrior Girl. I love you. But, you know, we need people have died for the Constitution, my God. And then the Supreme Court, just a few insurrectionists in there for entertainment purposes only, are still having an insurrection, and they don't value the Constitution. They're going to let a guy who won't even make a vow to the Constitution on the ballot. That's effed up. That's effed up, and it pisses me off. Anyway, will Liverpool win a trophy this year? I just heard yes. I heard yes. Will Liverpool, let's see if I just get one card maybe. Will Liverpool win a trophy? Spirit, will Liverpool win a trophy this year? I heard yes. The swords, or there might be some trouble. King of Swords in reverse. But there's the Ace of Swords, and that's victory. There might be some trouble, but I do see that they will. There might be something where somebody says, "Ah, this contests, the win, the final score or whatnot," but they will. They'll be okay. But that's about that. I gotta go. I'm gonna go eat and hang out with my doggo. So, thanks for being here. Love you guys, and Warrior Girl. I'm gonna leave it on this one because it's always love a good. I love you too. I love you, everybody. I love you, Warrior Girl. I love you, Jamie. I love you. I love you, Fatima. I love you. What's her name? Wasn't it Ellen? Let's go back. Let's find her. Fatima. I know you're here. You were Ellen. I love you, Ellen. I love you, everyone. Oh, you got iffy. Okay, yeah. Well, could be. Hugs to you too. Love you. Love you, everyone. Have a great night. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. Take care. And don't let it get you down. It's all right. Bye. Have a good night, you guys.